All right, listen up. Orders for the day, orders for the evening will be forthcoming. People will be quiet. Thank you very much.
I knew we were honoring the right person tonight. Thank you, Senator Roberts. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to WITA's annual dinner. I am Ken Levinson, WITA's Executive Director, and I'd like to say a few words of welcome and thanks before we begin our program. Tonight's program would not be possible without the amazing work done by WITA's staff, interns, and volunteers. I'd like to ask everyone to give them a big round of applause. Thank you, and a special shout out to Diego Inez, who makes everything we do at WITA run so smoothly and makes my job a pleasure. Thank you, Diego. Thanks to the Ronald Reagan Building and International Trade Center for being such a generous partner and gracious partner with WITA on this and our other events. We literally could not host tonight's dinner and everything we do at the Ronald Reagan Building without your partnership. Thank you. I won't recognize each of our amazing and active board members by name, but you'll find your names in your program, and I hope you'll all thank them for their dedication to making WITA a success. Thank you all. We're also incredibly grateful to this evening's sponsors and the generous donors who make WITA the central meeting place for the trade community. Thanks as well to M&M Mars for the tasty treats at all your seats. Thank you all. And of course, tonight's honorees and speakers, Secretary Sonny Perdue and former Secretary Dan Glickman, Senator Pat Roberts, Senator Ben Cardin, and Heidi Heitkamp, and Chairman Kevin Brady, who himself was a past honoree at the WITA annual dinner. Thank you for all your leadership on international trade, and thanks to your amazing staffs. Tonight's theme, as I'm sure you've seen, is Trade All-Stars, as we've come together to honor leaders in trade who've made a lasting impact on international trade policy. Sub-theme tonight, though, is community, the trade community, all of you who form this community of trade professionals. Many of us have worked together for years and even decades, and we're pleased for WITA to be the place that puts the word community into trade community. We look forward to working with all of you in the months and years to come to shape the future of U.S. and global trade policy. With that, I'm going to turn the stage over to my friend and colleague, the President of the Board of WITA, Steve Lamar.
Thanks, Ken. And thank you all for coming to the 2018 Washington International Trade Association and Foundation Annual Dinner, or what we like to refer to as the Trade Prom. This year's theme, as Ken mentioned, plays off of the All-Star game, but a sub-theme of the night is community, and we really want to emphasize that this is a trade community. We think it's really important, and these numbers bear this out. So let me just give you a couple of numbers. The membership now stands at 2,500 members, plus another 1,500 members in the Young Trade Professionals. That's 4,000 total. Over the past year, WITA and YTP, they hosted 50 events, and we've had, on average, about 126 people per event. That's an increase from 120 from the year before. And things aren't slowing down. In addition to our regular slate of programming, which will be continuing next year, very robustly, I might add, this week we announced that on January 29th next year, we're going to hold our first ever Washington International Trade Conference. And please mark that date. This is going to be a full-day event with general plenaries and breakout sessions, and we hope you'll attend and consider sponsoring this flagship event. We're also proud of our many affiliate programs. We have the Embassy Trade Alumni Network. We have the Association of USTR Alumni, the Congressional Trade Staff Alumni Association, and of course, YTP, the Young Trade Professionals, where Diego Inez is the first executive director. Together, these four affiliate programs count for more than 2,500 members of that 5,000 number I gave before. We're also proud to be the hub of the trade community, and tonight's honorees embody WITA's vision. The individuals from across the political and policy spectrum and from across the world come together to debate, discuss, and drive the future of international trade policy. As global value chains, and those of you who know me know I love to talk about global value chains, as global value chains become even more connected, the need for serious, creative, and productive discussion on trade is only intensifying. And I can hear a lot of productive discussion on trade going on in the audience here. At WITA, we intend to lead that discussion through balanced, engaging, and informative programming both in person and online, including through our new website, which we'll launch shortly. Tonight, we owe a special debt of gratitude to many individuals who worked to put on this evening's dinner. And you're going to want to be quiet because these are some important people. You're going to want to clap for them, so we need to know who they are. So special thanks to Ted Estelle, the WITF. Ted's right here. The WITF Foundation President and our dinner chair, and also the rest of our dinner committee, Sarah Thorne, Bill Lane, Selena Jackson, and Ken Levinson, and to the entire WITA and WITF board. Thanks also to tonight's volunteer team, in particular WITA's interns, and I think many of them may be over in the room back there, but it's Ira Arshad from Hofstra, Juliana Hernandez from Vanderbilt, Henry Men from Boston College, Roxy Pilipiv from Wesley College, Sydney Riley from Villanova University, and Ryan Sibel from American University. Let's give them a round of applause if we can. Of course, we got to continue to thank the Ronald Reagan Building International Trade Center, our host, for their enduring partnership in this great space. And of course, nothing is possible without Ken and Diego, who raise the bar every day. And if I could get your attention again, if everyone can quiet down, please. Shh. I'd like to invite up to the stage Ted and Selena to remember several of our colleagues who we lost this year.
Good evening, everyone. In the past few months, we have, in fact, lost some very valued members of our trade community. For those of us who attended any of those services, it drove home that, in fact, the trade community is a community. And because we've been through many, many battles, many campaigns together, we really do feel the loss as a group whenever we lose friends and colleagues. And again, we'd like to just take a few moments, Selena and myself, to pay a little tribute to them. First, Walter Bastian. For 41 years, Walter served at the U.S. Department of Commerce. He retired in 2015 as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Western Hemisphere. Walter was a legend at the Commerce Department for his steadfast commitment to his staff. Beloved by his colleagues, he mentored dozens of budding professionals. It's hard to find someone working on the Latin American issues here in Washington today who has gone untouched by Walter's mentorship and his wry sense of humor. His passion for the region, where he lived and worked most of his life, was unmatched, and his loss is felt by many here in the room tonight.
Bob Vestine. Bob was known to most of us as the grandfather of services, from his days leading the Coalition of Service Industries, CSI, from 1996 to 2012. Bob loved what he did. From success in the GATS to bilaterals to launching of the TISA, the traction gained for us as a community in services policy was truly a direct reflection of Bob's dedication. Bob had a very active life outside of the trade world too. He was very fit, so when people learned how old he was, they were always surprised. At age 71, which was about 10 years ago, Bob set an international world powerlifting record by lifting 450 pounds. Bob left a great legacy to the trade community, and we will all continue to benefit from his decades of leadership.
Matt Niemeyer. Matt managed the congressional affairs at USTR and led the legislative strategy for CAFTA and NAFTAs, and FTAs with the group, all of us, with Australia, Bahrain, Chile, Morocco, and Singapore. Matt was a master at the politics and the process surrounding any trade fight. And if you knew Matt, he loved a good fight. He knew that trade was more than just about economics. To him, it was America exercising its strength and its openness. During Matt's memorial service, Ambassador Zellick called Matt an American patriot and reminded us that it is often the case that patriots die too young. His love of country and American history was only outmatched by his love of the Red Sox and his children. Matt was fiercely loyal to whatever cause that he was fighting for, be it an FTA or fighting poverty during his time at the World Bank. Matt was also fiercely loyal to his friends, and we miss his wise counsel every day. Matt is survived by his wife, Amy, and kids, Anna and Peter.
Doug Gowdy. Doug's years as a trade warrior began at the Automotive Trade Policy Council, then NAM, and then most recently Pfizer. Doug's presence at any trade meeting made that meeting much more enjoyable. He was an enthusiastic runner, an inspired chef, an avid reader, and a devoted father. Many of us joined Doug and his family along his journey with cancer through his humorous and inspiring Facebook posts. Given his love of fun socks, #SocksForDoug gave everyone a chance to don their own crazy socks and share our love and support of him. Doug's friends established an opportunity to honor his legacy by establishing an education fund for Doug's kids, Will and Maggie. You're going to find information about that in tonight's gift bag, wrapped appropriately around a pair of very fun socks. In his final days, Doug was surrounded by his family. His wife, Ann, and daughter, Maggie, are with us here tonight. Can you please stand? Ann and Maggie, you both should know that your husband and father was deeply cherished by this community. So there's a deep sadness in losing the best among us. The trade scene simply won't be the same without these four leaders. As we begin dinner together, we hope that you're going to take a moment and raise a glass and remember Walter, Bob, Matt, and Doug. And by doing so, that we celebrate this community and we begin another memorable year together. Please join us in a round of applause to honor these remarkable friends and colleagues.
With that, we're going to ask you to all enjoy your dinner. We're going to be coming back to you in about 15 minutes to start the rest of our awards program. Thank you.